Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another small Booktuber Sunday. If you don't know what this is, basically for a few months now, on the first Sunday of every month, I have been shouting out booktubers with under 2,000 subscribers or around 2,000 subscribers, partly because I made my list of people I wanted to shout out, like, to begin with several months ago, and some of them have got over 2,000 subscribers in the time it's taken me to get round to shouting them out in a video. This is, I think, the fourth one I'm doing, and I'll link down the series with the rest of them below. I think from now on I'm going to be doing them every 2 months, so the next one won't be on the first Sunday in June, but on the first Sunday in July, just because otherwise I'm getting through people at quite a rapid rate. And although I am subscribed to like 200 booktube channels, at some point I am going to run out of small booktubers to shout out. And I'm sure I will get more because I'm always discovering new people, but I figured every 2 months is a bit more sustainable to keep the series going for longer. I have 10 people to talk to you about today, and I'll go roughly in the order of how long I have been watching them. So firstly, I want to talk about Melissa from The Bookish Babbler. She is someone I've been watching for a really long time, pretty much since I joined Booktube as a creator. She was one of my first Booktube friends. I think she might be the first person I ever did a buddy read with. I really love her Booktube channel. It's really fun and quirky, and it's been lovely to see it develop over the last few years. She loves science fiction and fantasy, but she also likes YA and classics and quite a wide mix. Which one of the things I love about her channel so much is within one video, for example a tag video, she'll go from talking about a YA contemporary to a fantasy book to Ernest Hemingway, and that's great. We also bonded early on over our shared love of Jane Austen and Elizabeth Gaskell. She is at college at university in America, but still manages to post incredibly regularly, which I really love. In April she did Vida, and it was really nice to see even more videos from her. So I'll link down below a few of her videos to get you started. I'll link down below a recent wrap-up, and I'll also link down below 2 parts of 2 sort of ongoing series which she has on her channel. One is a series which is called, I think, If You Liked That Then Read This, where she recommends less popular and less well-known books based on whether you might have enjoyed a well-known book, and I really enjoy them. And another is she's done quite a few videos of her kind of most to least favourite books in series or books by authors. So she did one on Jane Austen, she did one on the Harry Potter books, and she also did one on the Narnia books quite recently, which I'll link down below. So yes, I would highly recommend her channel, really good fun. The next person I want to mention is Classics with Courtney. She's someone else I've been watching for a really long time, and a channel I really enjoy. Her channel name is obviously Classics with Courtney, but she does read quite widely, and it's been quite interesting. When I first started watching her, I think she predominantly read classics, and then she has also kind of discovered YA in the last few years and talks quite a lot about YA and sort of contemporary fiction as well as classics, which I really enjoy. Like Melissa, she is at university in America, and I really enjoy it when she talks about her studies as well. I'll link down below one of her recent wrap-ups, and also I think maybe her favourite books of 2017. And I'll also link down below, I know it's a slightly older video, but one of hers I really enjoyed. She did a video talking about going from reading lots of classics to reading more YA and sort of thinking about what makes a classic and things like that, which was a really interesting discussion, so I'll link that down below. The next person I want to mention is Fiona's Fiction. She posts a little less regularly, but she's someone whose channel I always really enjoy. I found her originally in quite a weird way. Several years ago now, I was published in this. Tell it several years ago because it says 2015 on. This is the Young Writers Anthology 2015 by Electric Reads, which I think features 25 young writers' short stories or extracts from novels, and I'm published in here. And Fiona was also published in here, and we both had in our bios that we had Booktube channels, so we found each other through that. Strangely, I'm also actually now really good friends in real life with someone who was also published in this anthology, so yes, small world. So as you may gather from that, Fiona writes fiction, but she also has a really wide reading taste, and I really enjoy listening to and watching her videos. So I'll link down below a few different videos of hers for you to try out. I'm going to link down below her review of Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen from a few months ago, which I really enjoyed. And I'll also link down below a slightly more recent video talking through her sort of old and rare book collection, which I really loved. And then I'm also going to link down below a video which I believe is entitled Losing My Mind About Harry Potter for 7 minutes. So Fiona is a couple of years younger than me. I think she's in her early 20s, and she hadn't read the whole of Harry Potter until quite a bit older than a lot of people have read the whole of Harry Potter, and she just recently finished reading the whole series of Harry Potter for the first time and made a really great video about it. So that's that one, which I'll link down below. Next, I want to mention Angelica Kofer. She is another person who writes and who I found through the writing world, I guess. Olivia Pope, who's another booktuber I've mentioned in this series before, who I really love, set up a kind of Facebook writing club a few years ago. And Angelica Kofer and the next person I'm going to talk about were both people who I found through that writing group, whose booktube channels I hadn't ever encountered before. I really love Angelica's videos. She's also incredibly nice. I've met up with her several times. She's American but lives in London, and She has great taste in books as well, and quite wide taste. She likes thrillers, but she also reads some classics, and she is very, very good on poetry, which is also nice, as I know that's not that common on Booktube necessarily. So I'm going to link down below a few of her videos that I've really, really loved. Two videos I'm going to link down below were on her recent reading of Jane Eyre. So she'd never read Jane Eyre before, and she read it and had a lot of thoughts, and I found them really, really fascinating, especially as someone who read Jane Eyre at quite a young age. Like, I first read Jane Eyre like 12 years ago. Oh my god, 12 years ago. That makes me feel old. I've read Jane Eyre a long time ago, and the way you think about the world when you're like 13 is obviously different from when you're in your mid-20s. So it was really interesting hearing Angelica talk about reading Jane Eyre for the first time at an older age, and the kind of thoughts it gave her, especially to do with Mr. Rochester, which I found really, really interesting. And I'll link down below her 2 videos on her reading experience and her thoughts on Jane Eyre, and I'll also link down below the video where she talks about also reading Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, which is a sort of retelling of Jane Eyre, and her thoughts on that as well, because it's so, so interesting. And then I think I'll probably also link down below maybe her favourite books of 2017. No, that's not what it's called. It's called Books That Made Me 2017, because I really enjoyed that video as well, and it will give you a good introduction point to her channel. The next person I want to mention is Jenny King. As I said, she is another person who I found through Olivia Pope's kind of online booktube writing club, and I really, really love Jenny's channel. She has a varied taste and is very sort of chatty and nice to watch, and also does really good discussion videos, especially about kind of being on Booktube, what it means to be on Booktube, and sometimes like the pressure of Booktube, or the sort of ways of reading and ways of creating content that Booktube can sometimes make you feel like you have to do, if that makes sense. She hasn't posted that many videos in 2018 so far, but I'm sure she will be back, and I always love her videos. I'm going to link down below her Books of Note video from January, where she talks about interesting books that she read in January, and I'll also link down below one of her previous wrap-ups. And then I think I will also link down below, I think this was during Vlogmas, she did a discussion about sort of being on Booktube and doing Booktube differently, and what it means to be on Booktube, which I really enjoyed. So yes, I'll link that one as well. Next, I want to mention Doris from Aldi Books. She is someone who I find such a joy to watch. Her videos are chatty and engaging and calm, I would say, if that makes sense. And I always really, really enjoy her videos. She does great reading vlogs as well as wrap-ups and so many other things. She's also done a few kind of themed months where she reads around particular issues. So back in January, she did a month of kind of mostly reading books about the Arab-Israeli conflict, and she did 2 fascinating videos talking about all the books that she'd read sort of from both perspectives and both sides of that conflict. So I will link those down below because they were really, really fascinating. And I think I'll also link down below one of her recent reading vlogs and maybe her future classics tag recently, which I really, really enjoyed as well. She has varied reading taste as well, and I think I discovered her back in Booktuber this time round, and I've just really, really enjoyed watching her channel since and would highly recommend it. Another person I discovered last October, I guess, or maybe a little bit before, is Renetta from Book Cravings. I would highly recommend her channel. It is stunningly beautiful. If you like beautiful books, especially beautiful editions of classics, and if you like hearing people talk about design and illustration of books, then you can't go wrong with her channel. She loves to collect beautiful, beautiful books. She has a lot of Folio Society copies and various other staggering editions, and her videos are often, sometimes she will do videos talking about sort of the content of a book, and sometimes she will do short videos kind of reviewing a particular edition, what it looks like, what it feels like, how the illustrations are, the art content, and what the sort of physical design of this book as a physical object is. And I love those videos so much. Aside from those videos, which is a massive part of her channel and something I love, she's also just excellent on classics. Last year she read North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell and fell in love with it, which made me incredibly happy, and in general I would say she has quite similar taste on classics to me. So I'll link a few of her videos down below. I'll link one of her recent sort of Folio Society book reviews, probably the one on Mansfield Park, I think that was quite recent, and then I'll also link down below her video on all of the illustrated copies of Jane Eyre she owns. There are a few and it's awesome, and I'll maybe link down below her top 10 books of 2017 as well for you to get an introduction into the kind of things that she likes to read. Next I want to mention Annie from Am I Right? She's someone I've been watching for maybe 6 months now, I guess, and someone I'm really, really enjoying so far. She's currently doing an MA in publishing, I think, and has previously been a bookseller, so if you're interested in that sort of side of the book world, then she's someone who it's really interesting to follow. I would say her reading taste is sort of focused on sort of general contemporary literary fiction, but she also really enjoys poetry, which is really nice, and she's just very clear and very engaging and very, very fun to watch. So I'll link down below a few of her videos. I'll link down below a recent wrap-up, maybe the Future Classics tag, because I really, really enjoyed her answers for that, and I'll also link down below her video about her experience as a bookseller working at Waterstones, because I found that really fascinating. Finally, I have two very new to me people to shout out. Both of these people I've been watching for like less than a month, but I'm really, really loving so far. First person I want to mention is Ollie Bliss from Booktuber. I am loving his channel so far. I met him at one of the Booktuber meetups a couple of weeks ago and just really got on with him, so went to check out his channel and I love it. There are a few things in particular about his channel that I think make it extra special and extra interesting. One is that his channel is sort of partly focused on queer fiction, and the other is that he draws and does artwork, often like in response to the books he's read, which he then shows, and that's really, really interesting and very, very different, so definitely recommend that. I'll link down below a recent wrap-up, and then I'll also link down below, you may have recently seen Ollie Bliss turn up on the channel of Simon from Savage Reads. They've just started a series called Queer Quarterly discussing LGBTQ+ fiction and issues, sort of every few months, and they did a video over on Simon's channel, and then they also did a video on Ollie's channel talking about sort of labels and so on, so I will link that down below because it's a really, really good, interesting video to watch. And then finally, I also want to mention Liv J. Hooper from the Book Nook. Again, someone I've been watching for just a few weeks, but I really, really like her. She is a bookseller, which is of course always very interesting, and she has quite wide tastes, but she likes sort of modern contemporary literary fiction, but also kind of graphic novels and poetry, and she's also really, really funny, which is always nice when you're watching YouTube videos. So I would highly, highly recommend her. I'll link down below, I guess, a recent wrap-up and also maybe her most anticipated books of 2018, because I found that video really interesting and is a nice introduction into what she's looking forward to and interested in. There we have it. Those are 10 people I wanted to recommend to you today. I hope that you enjoy all of these booktubers if you haven't discovered them before. As always, please let me know down in the comments of any other smaller booktubers who you would like to recommend to me, because like there are many that I haven't yet discovered and I'm always looking for new people. But anyway, that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.